everyone. Love and music. That's what we're all about.
Just like a pro. That's Dave Bruce of the MTR Project. Kids.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Comes.
Well, hello. Where are
Darren.
you? Where are you?
Me?
Yeah.
At Dennis's.
Oh, give me a tour.
You want a tour?
Yeah. So what do I want to do? I want to do this. Because I was going to ask Oz if this had anything to do with like inspiring him to go into that particular field of paranormal investigation. And then I got to thinking that I don't know that it's the same thing.
Okay.
However, it is one that most of us should be familiar with. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Oh,
enjoy this trip. Enjoy this trip. Enjoy this trip.
So I want to say, there again, thanks for tuning in. But let's take it back over to the other side here real quick. And Sponge, what would your favorite horror movie genre be of all time?
Genre or just movie?
Yeah, in the horror movie genre. What is your favorite film, would you say?
Like Freak Me Out, best one?
Yeah,
probably.
like made the hairs on the back of your neck.
I think 30 Days of Night is really good.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And if you want something more of a mind bender, High Tension.
High Tension?
Yeah, it's an Italian film. It is jacked up.
Oh, yeah. Really?
Yeah, it's really twisted.
They've
if you want a cheesy one, I'm going to go with Jeepers Creepers.
That was good, especially your first time watching it. Great movie. Second, third time, it's still a good movie, but it's not quite the creep factor.
Yeah, but you should watch High Tension.
High Tension. That kind of, I don't know what it's about, but that kind of stuff just.
I got a copy right here, bud. I'll loan it to you.
Keep the door unlocked then, because I'll be hanging out in there with the dogs. I'm not gonna hang out because it probably takes place in a motorhome stop somewhere.
It doesn't. No.
Okay, good.
It takes place in Italy. You're fine.
You're safe.
You're okay. You're not in Italy.
Okay, good. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Great. I'm glad to know that tonight.
Here's another interesting story that's in the news.
Turn it like this?
Yeah.
In the news,
there you go.
Rolling.
Nope, I had it. Hey, Doug.
We're going to go ahead and watch the movie now.
I'm driving down the road. Get to a better spot.
Okay, well, we're just going to watch. Oh, wait a second. No, we got to watch. Slipped over the head, a bag of cellulose tissue designed for use in skiing. You can also use as a shower cap and apron. That's just weird. Putting a bag over your head.
Exactly.
What? Seriously, who made these things up?
What is this person doing?
Just enjoying the fact that she's got a bag of cellulose tissue over her head.
That is, it does sound kind of nice.
By all means, we can wait while you go grab a bag if you want. Okay. Other than that, though, I have no idea what the reasoning behind that would be. All right, so that's the transferring.
Okay. This is Michael Porcio of the 3 o'clock in the permanent green light, and you are digging DJ D Phoenix on the Groove Zone.
Ow! Rock and roll. Michael. Oh my
Who
gosh.
knows what waits for us in nature's no
So what do
man's
I want to
land?
do? I want to do this. Because I was going to ask Oz if this had anything to do with like inspiring him to go into that particular field of paranormal investigation. And then I got to thinking that I don't know that it's the same thing.
Okay.
However, it is one that most of us should be familiar with. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Oh, it starts with you out. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Doing all right.
Good.
Maybe. I don't know. Up for grabs, but yeah, I'm doing great. That's why you can't see me yet, because I can't get my stuff straightened out.
Okay.
Nothing can stop him.
He's well prepared. Shabam. Shabam. That's what's happening. Shabam it.
Did you see the new, did you see the Black Adam trailer?
I saw that.
Pretty cool.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Who's playing him?
The Rock.
I thought that. Okay, I thought I had heard something about that. But now he's
It's all right. I'm not a big. I mean, I liked his old stuff. He's starting to be so big now, and he's kind of like getting that big head.
The Rock. Oh, he's beyond.
I like how they had a nobody playing Shazam. I thought that was great.
Me too. Now I still haven't seen the movie, but no. Remember, don't you? Yeah, you have it.
Yeah,
And
you don't see any movies.
What?
You don't see any movies.
Because my head.
Or maybe some nuts.
Yes, you did. All right. Okay. Good.
Alrighty then.
Then I think we're good. I don't know where we left off. I'm not really sure as far as what was around the corner.
Well, yeah, I mean, this thing is not going away, but, you know, it's not as bad, apparently. I'm like, I kind of want to get the crumb, but, you know, you could get it really, because, no, then your immunity goes up so much.
I know.
But it still would be, but then you're like, what if I got really, really sick and dropped dead? If I got, you know, it's like, you don't know.
Well, no, you don't. And it's like, in retrospect, or in hindsight, I'd hate to have that happen. You know, it's like, well, you know, he wondered what was going on and now he knows. Yeah. Yeah. And nobody's really grown third legs or arms yet. So, you know, from vaccines that we're aware of. So who knows? I think that if they would have had internet back like 100 years ago when the last big plague hit, I think that, you know, maybe we'd know what happened, but we never really will until we go through it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many millions of people died during that plague, like 3 million or?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and then again, according to like the population of the world at that point, that's still a large number. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. And people wouldn't wear masks. It's the same. No, people did wear masks, but there are people who wouldn't wear masks. So it's not that much different.
Right.
People are still stupid.
Well, and I mean, if that's the least that you do besides washing your hands, you know, you got to at least do that. I remember, it's funny, right before all of this happened, there was a woman in the grocery store that was coughing and not covering her mouth. And I'm serious, like just days before like everything happened. Yeah. And I thought, why is it that adult people cannot cover their mouth and, you know, all that when they're like sick or like hacking or whatever. And then boom, COVID came along. I'm like, I bet she did it. No, not really, not blaming it on her, but we didn't really I don't think we really paid that much attention to like how much we like spewed our stuff everywhere.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I cover my mouth when I cough. I mean,
always common courtesy, if nothing else.
Yeah, even before COVID. I mean,
or if you sneeze, you know, you cover your mouth. Do you remember I want to say it was Outbreak. It was that movie from maybe the late 80s, very early 90s, somewhere around there, where maybe about the time that Ebola hit. I don't remember quite for sure, but when the guy in the movie theater sneezes and it follows the molecules throughout like the ventilation system. Did you ever see that movie?
No, I didn't.
I'll have to see if I can find the opening and send it over to you.
Okay.
That's why you cover your mouth, because we have no idea just how much that's, you know, we both have to eat later, so I should probably hush and move on to a different subject.
Yeah.
And let you talk, because, you know, here I am talking all the time so far. Good grief. What's like the day-to-day looking like? You're just busy with stuff.
I have to write a new song for the end of the musical, so I'm going to do that. And I actually went to see a musical last night called Hadestown, which was really fantastic. And it was packed. It was packed. I was like, I thought there'd be some separation. I mean, everybody was wearing a mask, but
wow.
it was, but yeah, it was just packed with kids and
oh, cool.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, was it nice to be back out and like have it kind of more like the normal?
Yeah.
But
they didn't serve alcohol between during the intermission. We were like, we want a drink, but there was nothing. You know, I don't think they want to encourage people to take their masks off in that kind of a space.
Okay. Well, I thought maybe because there were kids around. Because didn't you say there were kids there?
No, I mean kids. By kids, I mean like 20. I mean a lot of younger people.
I know that as we're getting older, yeah, and it's weird. Let me ask: are you a good judge of age? Do you think that like you can look at somebody and kind of get an idea of ballpark of how old they are?
Yeah, you know how I do it with women. I do it by their name because names are really, really popular.
Okay.
And if your name is Sasha, you might be in your late 30s. If your name is Jennifer, you're going to be in your 40s, late 40s.
Yeah. Oh. Okay.
But yeah, I try to think of what names are really, really trendy for a while. But it's harder with guys because guys just have a lot of generic names. But if they have interesting names like they're 20 something, you know.
Yeah. I know. And you're right, because it shows like the generational, like the names that the parents chose, like 80s parents, like my generation, like their kids, a lot of them had a tendency to have still kind of earthy names, you know, earthy but hip, if they're, you know. Yeah. Because I know sages and crystals and, you know, stuff like that. And it's like, and that's a throwback to like the 60s parents.
Oh yeah, and Brooklyn. I know somebody named Brooklyn.
Okay.
But now it's like all over the map, which I like.
And the reason why I brought that up, yeah, me too. The reason why I brought that up is that like even the other day at the gym, could not tell you the ages. I would say 20, and 30 maybe behind the counter at the fitness at the gym.
Yeah.
And, it could be totally off though too. It's like I used to have it pegged really well, but not so much anymore. So when you said kids, I just automatically figured, you know, little ones.
No.
And then I'd have to say, Carol, you can't drink with the kiddios right next to you. They don't look kindly on that.
No, there are no children at this thing.
And then what was it about? Well, this show that you went to the other night.
It's about Orpheus and Eurydice, who but you know, modern day, who end up going to hell, to Hades Town, which is hell.
I kind of thought of that, yeah.
And the guy who plays Hades has a voice like Tom Waits.
Oh, and, really? Perfect.
Yeah, and just great songs, lots of energy, amazing sets. And I don't really like a lot of Broadway shows because they're so generic, and there's a strident quality to the way people sing, which really annoys me. And the songs, like the newer musicals, the newer songs, are like so annoying, and I don't remember any of them. And there's a certain style that, you know what I'm talking about? Like
totally know what you're talking about. And it might be over the top as far as presentation goes or whatever, but if it doesn't register, and if it doesn't like kind of ring true with you somewhere, like in your mind or in your, you know, in your heart or whatever, when you're hearing something like that, then it's kind of just pointless moot music almost.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be.
No, I know. I can't remember, you know.
That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. But there we see an increase of about 1.3.
Well, what do you know?
Uh-huh.
It's the very famous footage that he never said.
Or neuro-linguistic programming, they use harmonics. When they introduced the high definition TV to the world, they were able to embed harmonics into the TV. Your brain, your consciousness doesn't know what your brain is hearing. Pre high def TVs, they were having subliminal messages that would flash on the screen. Your eyeball, because it was anything over 60 frames per second, your eyeball can't pick it up. The brain can, but anything over 60 frames per second, your eyeball, you can't see it, but your brain sees it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything higher than 60 frames per second, your eyeball can't see it flash on the TV. Your brain sees it because the eyeball sees it, but your consciousness doesn't. Your conscious mind does not visually see it. The subconscious records it.
Okay.
In my Vegas video, I've got a video of a woman who took a picture. She was using one of those flip phones. She was trying to take a picture of herself, and she got the TV in the background.
Yeah.
And exactly when she took that picture, all you saw across the TV was kill. The word kill. Yes.
You got actual footage of this?
Yes, yeah. My
Can't
Vegas.
rule out invasion from space.
I've got all kinds of fun and games lined up for us tonight, and there's only 2 of us.
Well, I'll be here for a little bit. I got yeah.
Each game requires a minimum of 4 people, though.
Oh, well then, if we double ourselves.
How do you do that?
You saw it in Johnny Mnemonic. He doubled himself.
I think I've got some hydrogen peroxide and black powder. Maybe if we like combine it, it'll blow up and double us.
That and some dog poo and
dog poo
and feathers, and we can double ourselves.
Now, is there a particular breed of dog poo that's better than another for explosives?
I don't know.
Where's Doug when you need him?
I think it would be, I don't think that's a high sort of if you use bird shit and dog poo, because the bird shit's high in urea, so that might actually help.
Where's it at?
Bird shit. It's
high in eureka?
Urea.
Oh, urea.
Yes,
so it's not like altitude wise then. It's like high. Okay, gotcha.
Hold on a second. I'll be right back.
Okay, bye. Well, that was a fun show.
Hi, I'm Joe Visvari from Images in Vogue from Vancouver, Canada, and you're in the Groove Zone via Olympia, Washington.
Ow!
Master.
Rock and roll.
To the face of it, we added first silver, then nickel, then copper, and finally a lot more copper. Then we separate the lacquer from the metal. Now we have both our original lacquer master and a new silver-faced or metal master. The grooves in the lacquer master make it a positive. It can be played. The matching ridges on the metal master make it a negative. It cannot be played. We continue work with the metal master, repeating the gradual metal buildup to make a...
Hey everybody, this is Ivan from Men Without Hats, and you're watching DJ Phoenix on the Groove Zone.
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, I'm a little schoolgirl right now.
Begin simulation. Simulation commencing in T-4 seconds.
So, let's see. Hey guys, guess what? You are watching and listening to the Groove Zone's Hook, Line, and Thinker, a podcast. We're here on the Groove Zone Networks, and tonight on this edition of Hook, Line, and Thinker, I'm very happy to have a good panel with us, and actually hopefully a first-time guest because maybe we can do like several more outings with them. This is Hook, Line, and Thinker. Anyway, with us tonight, we've got I'll just say a special guest with us because for right now he is Lawdawg out of Taos, New Mexico. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Ooh.
Good. I'm glad so glad you were here.
Thank you.
Let's see. We also have our returning regulars. We've got King James and Mama Hart out of the Inland Empire.
Hello.
Hello, kids. And from Creepsville, Washington, there's our buddy Oz. Oz.
How's it going?
Oh, it's going well. Remember, this is also radio. So there's a lot of audio stuff too that can be going on, whatever you want to do.
Gotcha. Hello, everybody.
There we go. That's what we were looking for. And finally, last but not least, at least for the moment, we have out of Olympia, Washington, we have Stormy, also known as DJ Fury, with us tonight. Hello. What was that?
I said, yes. Hello.
There we go. Cool. All right. Well, hell, the gang's all here. We are really stoked with this tonight. We've got Lawdawg hanging out with us, and Lawdawg and I have known each other's actually, a little while, huh? Having both worked the same nightclub back in the day. And,
which one? Wait. Which one?
Corner Jukebox.
Okay.
Up on, it's a New Life or New Hope Baptist Church up where Martin and Pacific turn into 4th and State.
Right at that
right across the street from Blue
the brick building?
Yeah, what's that?
Is it a brick building? It says it's a very simple building, right? Like right before Big Tom's?
Right after Big Tom's.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay, yeah. And it one time only ever in its existence was it ever a nightclub. And and nightclub by name alone, man.
No.
They had
remember you telling me about that.
They had that totally planned, Lawdawg.
They what?
They totally had that planned. It was 3 months to the day from the day that they opened that thing closed and that wedding happened and they were out.
Yeah, it was interesting.
It was fun.
Hey,
Yeah. Live to tell the tale, that's for sure. Oh my gosh.
That's right.
Anyway, on with the theme of the show. And I did pull up some Sasquatch clips, but we've kind of been gravitating more towards the clips over the last year or so due to lack of new blood. So now that we've got a little bit of new blood hanging with us tonight, I want to turn this over more or less to him. Lawdawg, when you and I were talking, you had brought up a couple of different things that had that you've experienced over the years, and I would like to know, out of all the different things that you're going to share with us, what is the one that comes to mind the first? Like, what is the one story of whatever it is that you like seen, experienced, whatever that you want to share? I know, huh? No pressure.
Well, if you want to get graphic, I've worked in the prison system, but we'll forego that. But I've seen things that no man should see.
Okay.
But the interesting thing, I've always been a nerd. I guess the term geek, right? The nerd back in the day when we were growing up. I'm 56 now, so if you do the math, back when I was 11, 12 years old, and I was always into astronomy. And my parents for Christmas one year bought me this little telescope. It was about a 4 big long white tube, with a little spotter on it. And I remember, Dad and I would go out and look at the moon, look at the planets. And it wasn't one of these fancy things now where it does all the automatic tracking. They didn't have the computers or the motors back then because there was no really home computers when I was 11, 12 yet. I was just before that age of the Commodore 64 and VIC 20 coming into play. But, so we had this little, and I'm going to use my hands and I'm going to describe since we're on the radio as well, kind of like a little wheel with an attached inside part of it. And it had different stars in the month and the day, and you can kind of turn it and you can hold it up in the sky and kind of compare it to where you were at and see where the stars were and which constellations were. Now, I was living in Lacey at the time. I grew up in Lacey, moved there when we were 6 years old, born in Bellingham. Moved to Lacey when I was 6. So born in 68. So that'd be what, 6 years, 74. We moved there. And shortly thereafter, when I was about 8, Dad bought me the telescope to have him on. Or perhaps Santa Claus. I can't remember which. Anyway, so, we were out one night when I was about 12. So this would have been 1980-ish. And looking at the stars about 11:30 at night, maybe midnight-ish. And back then, now when we moved to Lacey, Washington, mind you, in 74, there was 2 stoplights. And they were at Martin Way and College and Slater Kinney and College, right? And there was 14,000 people there, right? Small city. Now, I consulted former councilman Ed Kunkel, and he says there's almost 100,000 people in the area now. So it's just crazy grown since then, right? So one of the reasons I had to move away from the area was just because it got too crazy. So Pops and I were out looking at stars and looking at the moon. And it was a particularly darker evening. The moon wasn't in full phase yet. It was like a crescent. And I remember just getting this eerie feeling. And then all of a sudden, this object comes from our left. And I live behind Mountain View Elementary on a dead-end street. So if you can imagine, evergreen trees, very quiet at night, very little traffic, back then in 1980. I drove by there too. Yeah, and so this object comes up high from our left, deadly silent, absolutely silent, zero noise, no engine that I could see or hear, and it looked like it had about 8 sides to it. And I could kind of detect like there might be some windows to the side of it, and it had some kind of square indent underneath in the middle of it. And it just silently flew maybe a couple hundred feet above us. And I want to say it was probably about 100 foot by 100 foot. And just silent, and it was heading, I guess, kind of toward I-5. So it would have been heading kind of north, just dead silent. And I was just like literally frozen. I was like, oh my God, am I seeing this? Because I've always been, even as a young kid, I've been very, very curious about cryptids, UFOs, alien races, culture, and just fascinated by that. I read tons of books.
Welcome home.
Right. Tons of books. I was a fan of Goddard, of modern rocket science, scientific stuff, which is down in Roswell. They got a really cool museum if anybody gets down there. The Goddard Museum.
Close.
But, there's this silent thing flying over us. And I was just like sitting there literally frozen with my mouth open and my eyes looking up going, oh my God, myself, what is this? But I couldn't move and I couldn't say anything until and then I looked at my dad, I'm like, did you just see that? And he's like, yes. Now, the interesting thing is the next day, and FM radio wasn't really popular yet. So we had KGY on the local 1240 AM, the local radio station, right? The mainstay of Lacey, Olympia, Tumwater. And they're saying, yeah, a bunch of people reported an unusual object in the sky that night. I was like, oh, wow, we saw that. And then there was something in the paper about, an unusual object flying in the sky and people reporting it. So, it wasn't just something I saw and my dad saw. It was actually confirmed by multiple people.
What year did you say this was again?
This was about 1980.
80. Okay. So if we were to contact like the Olympian, could we possibly pull up that archived article?
I would think so.
It would be, I'm not doubting you at all. I'm just saying it would be neat to see.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you brought that up because actually I noticed that looking for incidents in and around the Olympia area, the only one that I could ever find was an incident that happened, I think, back in the 50s or 60s up above, of all places, the golf course. The golf course off of Young Highway. Isn't that Capital City?
Right down my street.
Yeah. There was something that was seen 100 feet or 150 feet over the in the air over the golf course way back then, and that was the only thing I'd ever seen. So that's wow.
Well, now years later, of course, we come to find out that they had this stealth fighter, right, that hadn't been made public yet, sometime in the early 90s, but it didn't look triangle. Well, I know what you're talking about. That's like what, the P-35 or whatever. I think
that was more delta shaped.
Yeah, I think that's more delta shaped. This was more like hexagonal.
And the hexagonal, if you're talking 1980, we're talking pre-drone. Well, okay, pre-civilian drone.
Oh yeah.
Right. And even, I mean, it makes me think drone.
Yeah, yeah.
But by who? From who? Who? What the hell was it? Right.
Yeah, it would have been super advanced technology for that time. But again, maybe it was something terrestrial. I would like to think it wasn't, but again, there's that little bit of doubt in my head as to, what exactly was that darn thing? It made zero sound. It didn't have any propeller sound, didn't have any engine sound. There was no propulsion that I could see from it. So it was just the most unusual thing I'd ever seen in my life. And I remember my heart jumping out of my chest. It's like, holy cow,
I don't think you'd ever look at the sky again the same way. What's that?
Okay, so I don't want to like jump subject here, but
No, because I was just going to say something.
Because you're in Taos, have you heard the hum?
I have not. Some people say they can, but I've got high frequency hearing loss, not low frequency, high frequency, but I've not heard it. So yeah, but some people say they have, and it makes me wonder what's going on out in kind of there's some areas out here that are very, let's just say there's some things that go on that people either don't want to know about or shouldn't know about. Because there's some very, Taos, the town proper is pretty small. It's like 7,500 people. The county has about 30,000, but Taos is one of the biggest counties in northern New Mexico. And there's certain areas that are off grid, and certain areas where there's certainly things that could take place that the public would never know about. And there's a lot of things in northern New Mexico, like over in Dulce, Dulce. There's a lot of mystical, spiritual stuff that goes on there, and it's sacred to the Indians. So,
sweet New Mexico.
It's like Mount Shasta. You've heard the stories about UFOs allegedly in Mount Shasta or in or near Mount
Even
Shasta.
before Roswell, yes, that's what.
Right, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on there in Dulce, which is about, I want to say 100 to 150 miles west of me.
A lot of stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So, and again, now you're starting to get into those areas where it's not really populated, where it's not too far from Area 51 and some of the other alleged areas where the military does stuff in secret, allegedly, and there might be some other creatures there.
It's
so
close
who knows?
enough to be fringe.
Right. Yeah. So,
Phoenix,
I'm in an interesting area.
Oz, what were you going to say a minute ago?
I was going to ask if you mind if I shared I had a very similar experience to what you had, but it was quite a while later. I'd say it was probably about. Do you mind?
No, please.
Okay, it was had to have been between 97 and 99, and it's odd how you don't remember the day and whatnot, but we never reported ours, but I wish I had. Two friends of mine and I were standing out in their car shop, and he was standing outside of it, and his wife and I were standing on the inside on the concrete, and he's talking to us, getting ready to take a dip, and all of a sudden, why am I echoing really bad?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure that
anyway,
out.
Okay. Anyway, he goes to take a dip, and right about here, he just lights up in this cylinder of white light, not like a flashlight, but like a cylinder. And he lights up completely. And Dorothy and I both just look at him and go, and she goes, "What the F, Dave?" And he looks up, and as soon as he looks up, his eye, I can see he's kind of like, "What the hell?" He steps inside right between us. And we kind of stand there and look at each other for a second, and it's like, what the heck? So he and I step out onto the gravel, look up, and here's this triangle, big black triangle, with not a real bright light, but a light in each corner. And you could see it blacking out the stars as it went over. And this thing was like at treetop level and huge. I mean, it had to have been a minimum of 200 feet wide. A minimum, probably 300 feet, honestly. And it just kind of cruised over the top of us. And it kept going for about probably 80 yards, I'd say, until it hit the next tree line going off the property. And you can see where it looked like it was just barely missing not a sound, not even a wind, nothing. And it kind of started disappearing about halfway over that tree line. Dorothy was like, "I'm out of here." She goes kind of out of the garage, She goes out of the garage and goes to go up the steps to the house about 20 yards away. The second she hits that first step, this same exact beam comes out of it at about a 45-degree angle, nails her, and it's weird because it lights her up completely, even on the side that the light wasn't coming from. You know what I mean? And she's like, "Oh, word," up into the house and gone, and that thing just kind of melted off, going from the Tenino direction towards Rainier, right beside 507, across from McIntosh Lake. And never seen anything like it before. Never seen anything like it afterwards. It was crazy, huge. Not a sound.
Totally not.
And you said that was late 90s?
Well, that was it was late 90s. I know it was pre-2000 for sure. It was pre-299 or 1999. But I did actually get a hold of L.A. Marzulli on that one. That's when I initially got a hold of him and talked to him, and he answered me back right away. He says, he goes, a lot of people see that exactly like you're describing. He goes, I personally believe that's one of ours reverse engineered. He goes, I believe that the extraterrestrial ones are usually the orbs, the lights, the power, what looks like an energy ball, and the mechanical is ours, he says.
I'm sorry. I want to do a real quick sound check. Robin, would you do me a favor and just say, hi.
Hello there.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay. First of all, it's good to see you, by the way. We miss you guys.
Hi.
Okay, so it's not on your end. Let's see, and thank you. Stormy, just say something if you would.
Hello, hello.
It's not on your end. Okay, and then Lawdawg.
How you doing?
Okay, so Oz, it is, and I don't know if it's the headset.
Is it me?
It might be the headset.
Wait, let me see. Okay, is it happening right now?
Yeah.
I don't hear it. You sound fine.
And is it happening right now? Ooh, yeah, it's happening bad.
I hear you fine.
Really?
You don't hear that?
So
no, I
coming
don't
over on
hear
yours.
it.
Phoenix.
What's that?
I bet it's me coming over on yours.
It might be. Okay,
I'm a loud talker.
Are you hearing us okay, or is it weird?
No, it has a little zippy part to it.
Okay, but now that's what's weird though, because whatever you just did, now I'm hearing it with everybody.
Wow.
And that didn't happen just a second ago. So what happened?
Maybe it's a signal thing.
I swear I didn't touch anything.
No, I know. None of us did. But you guys were all just as clear as a bell, and then Oz did something. Oz.
How about now?
Needs to work on his Joey impression, though.
This is why we can't have nice things, you know?
Test 1 2 3. Test 1 2 3. Does that make a difference? Does this make a difference? Does it?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah,
Sounds fine to me.
But the thing is, though, is that I still think we all totally heard everything that you said, though. So,
right.
And I know a couple of us have heard that before, but I still like the story. So,
it was crazy, man.
Again, just like real short.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking. This was probably 2015-ish, right? And I was living just off of Capitol Boulevard in Tumwater. Good old Alpine Village. Gotta love it. So shut up, Oz. You do what you gotta do. So I'm like, a few miles from the Tumwater Airport, right? And we kind of lived in Seacourt, which was sort of like a block of buildings. And all of a sudden I'm hearing everybody like, come out, look at these lights, So my daughter, we all go out into the courtyard and we see these lights, and they are definitely towards the airport, but they are red floating spheres in the V formation, but they're not flares. They're not falling. They're not nothing, right? But they're lighting up, and then they're going out, and then they would come back. And I got some lame ass excuse later on that they were like lanterns in honor of Japanese whatever, blah blah blah, bull crap.
What year?
Airport.
This was like 2015ish.
Yeah, no.
And I know what I saw. They were just like, it was like a smaller version of the Phoenix lights. I know y'all have seen the Phoenix lights.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a smaller version of that.
Okay. Did you ever look to see if that one had been reported?
I never heard anything about it reported. I never saw it in the news. I never saw it in anything. The few like people that I did talk to that were there and saw it too were kind of jerks, and they were like, "Oh, that was just this. That was just that." Well, no, I know what I saw, and I had video, but this was 2015, and I was broke, so I had the crap LG flip phone. The recording was crap. It was unusable. It was unseeable. I wish I had better video of it, but I know what I saw, and it was weird.
And then flash forward 10 years and see what's going on in the skies now, and it's almost becoming commonplace enough that people are like, it's another UFO.
Yeah, they drive right on past it.
And
Well,
it's just
we
like,
have these sort of like typical ones, right? There's the triangular ones. There's the tic tacs. You know, you see these. So Lawdawg, the hexagonical. That's not even a word. I made it up.
hexagonal.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. That's different to me. Not impossible at all. But maybe that's, I mean, we've all seen these other weird things, but that was clearly something too, especially with the beams. With the beams of light.
And it was weird because in the middle of it, underneath, was like a square cutout, almost like you know, like you have like a dome, like I don't know, like an landing dock or something.
Like almost it was indentation, like it was concave as opposed to.
You know, I'm looking up the triangular craft, the anti-gravity craft that may or may not be man-made. That's a TR-3B anti-gravity that are allegedly, according to people that have, you know, secretly worked at these bases and reverse engineered stuff. So that would be our version of an extraterrestrial craft, but terrestrial. So I think I've done a lot of reading. Again, I'm into cryptids and nerdy stuff, right? Geeky stuff, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of talk about, you know, these extraterrestrial craft that are somewhat symbiotic with the hosts, and that they're semi-biological. And so that's where you get these orbs merging with each other and separating. So that maybe somehow these objects combine with each other, and then they become one, and then they separate again, you know, smaller ships, and then maybe they go up to some kind of mother craft. And I firmly believe that there's some kind of cloaking device in these things, you know, and now we're coming out with these shields that basically block the light and reflect the light around it. And, you know, it's like almost like a green screen, right? Like your news person in front of a green screen, except that I don't know how it works, but you've got these photovoltaic cells in front. You put it in front of somebody, and it looks like they've disappeared, and you can only see the stuff behind them. So there's, you know, the cloaking technology's there on our end. So just imagine what a civilization, you know, a couple thousand years ahead of us or a millennial ahead of us is going to be doing with this stuff. I mean, it's not far-fetched.
Not at all. And, you know, if you think about like hive mentality, which is a very efficient way to evolve.
Absolutely.
You know, sending out those little limbs or probes or like, you know, appendages, whatever, makes absolute sense.
Right. Agreed.
How long, when did you move from the PNW down south?
May 2023 is when I made the move down here.
Oh, so you were up here for quite a while.
Yeah, you know, on and off all my life. You know, I had a little stint in the Marine Corps, but I didn't really leave Washington for any length of time. I moved down to California for a short stint. You know, yeah, I've lived in Washington most of my life, and now I'm here in New Mexico. And you know, the cool thing is on my list is to go out and look at the VLA, the Very Large Array, which is all those radio telescopes.
The big one. Yeah, the one that was
that's on my list. Right? That's on my list to go do, and I'm looking forward to doing that and geeking out. I don't think my wife shares the same passion that I do in that, but you know, she indulges me. So,
that's good though. Have you been to Roswell yet?
Oh yeah. We vacationed around New Mexico for like 9 years. You know, every couple of years we come and we hit Roswell, we hit Santa Fe, Albuquerque. Ruidoso is a really cool town, and Taos. We always kind of kept gravitating toward Taos. It's kind of a kitschy little art community here. A lot of strange people, so I blend right in. So, you know.
Have you been to TRC?
Yeah. So, but no, Roswell's a really cool town. We almost moved there, but it's about 50,000 people in the former air base. And of course, that was a center population when the whole Roswell UFO crash went down. And